Hi guys, Henry here. So today I just want to go over a fund that I'm looking at potentially putting some money into. I've talked quite a bit how I've got money in Fundsmith and I'm looking for some diversification. I've also talked how I've been looking at the Asia region and some of the funds within that. So some of the funds that I mentioned at the start of the year looking into is ETFs. So the iShares Hang Seng Tech one goes into Chinese tech companies, heavily weighted in the large companies that you see most active funds in there, so the likes of Tencent, Alibaba, JD being the main weighted in that. So far, since I've been in, it's not actually performed too well. It's down 2%. Not that concerned, with performance. I believe in the growth of that, and I've spoke quite a lot in the blogs about how they're going to grow with the Chinese economy, how they're pushing into Southeast Asia and those markets like Indonesia with 260 million population, and also growing GDP, Vietnam, Thailand as well, and now they've just opened offices. And Singapore seem to be expanding in these markets with subsidiaries such as Shopee, Lazada, etc., and the gaming with Tencent. So I think that's a massive market that's underrated within the world, and one that Chinese tech companies have got a dominance opening in. Another one is the CRAN ETF for pharmaceuticals, Chinese pharmaceuticals. Again, very similar to the tech, it goes with the growing GDP of China, but also with it expanding within the Asia Pacific region as well, and also China being quite innovative in that sector as well, and kind of dominating the Western pharmaceutical powers, like the Pfizer's, the AstraZeneca's. So today I want to go over what I'm looking at into putting into my portfolio. Looked at a few funds, want to go over them with you. Feel free to drop me a comment or let me know what your opinion is. So firstly is the Steward Investors Asia Pacific Leaders Sustainability Fund. Now, as I've talked about before, it's got, when I normally look at Asian Pacific funds, they usually seem to be comprised of the same weightings near enough. They've got Alibaba, Tencent, TSMC and Samsung potentially. It seems to be just too similar. Now this is a bit different in the makeup. It seems to be more Indian weighted that I like, and it has a breakdown of good quality companies within the Indian region, as well as breaking up a bit into Japanese equities that heard me talk about before. I'm a big fan of the iShares Asia Pacific ETF ex-Japan, so currently holding low on Japanese equities. And also I think it's a good mix with a lot of the funds at the moment. You may be holding a lot of US companies, US tech, obviously it's overweighted right now. It's a good diversification to have for the long term. I've talked about one of the two options that personally I want to go into is that the FTSE FEET fund, also quite heavily Indian weighted, looking to go into that emerging market region. I believe it would do well over not even a 5-year time frame, but more over 10-20 year time frame. This has a similar metra about it. It's looking to do well the long term. I think over 5, 15, 20 years is that fund. So this one I'm looking to go into now. It has a bit of diversification to the current weighting of where my personal equities are based right now. It's also a top rated fund. It's one of the UK's largest, and it's being highly rated independently by Morningstar as well. So feel free to let me know your thoughts. If you think it's too Indian centric for an Asian fund, if you think there are other funds out there, let me know. Cheers guys.